Okay, good afternoon, class. Today is May 18, 2022, and it's already 3:32 p.m. on the clock with a total number of 2 students. So it's nice to see you again today, Alkin and Crystal. Again, good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
It was nice to hear the both of you again today. So how are you so far? Alkin, how are you?
I'm doing good po, ma'am.
Oh, I'm happy to hear that. How about you, Miss Crystal?
Yes, ma'am. I had a little headache yesterday, but I made the time to rest Paul, so I'm doing well also.
Oh, I'm glad that you're now okay. So I'm also happy to know that you exerted some time to rest and did not force yourself to do some things because that will probably get worse if you didn't, okay? But anyways, let's not overwork ourselves when we feel not okay, okay? So before we start, let me ask you if my audio is audible on your end.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
po, ma'am.
Loud and clear po.
Thank you for responding. Now, please remember to maximize the use of our chat box and click the raise hand button if you want to answer. So let's start. Now, as you can see on the screen, there are two names, right? Who are they? Alkin?
They are Jay and Jake po.
Oh, thank you, Alkin. So we have here Jay and Jake. So our lesson for today has something to do with this. So we'll start with a text or a story, and it is entitled Jay and Jake. Now, let me ask you, what do you think is the story or the text all about? Anyone? Yes, Crystal?
Ma'am, I think it is all about the relationship between Jay and Jake.
Nice guess. What do you think is the relationship, Crystal?
I think they are best friends, Paul.
Maybe. Let's see. Thank you, Crystal. So before I present you the story, I would like you to list all the adjectives that you see in the text. So do you copy, class?
Yes po, ma'am.
Yes, po, ma'am.
Okay, so let's now proceed. So Jay and Jake. Let me read it first. Once upon a time, there were two brothers named Jake and Jay. So they are brothers. Jay is 1 year older than Jake. Jay is 1 year older than Jake. They have different personalities that makes them always being compared. Jake is a bright kid. However, Jay is not as bright as Jake. Whenever he hears Jake laugh with his parents, he loses control of his anger. He throws tantrums and will shout as loud as he can. Jake is also an intelligent kid. He loves to read books. However, Jay is not as intelligent as Jake. He prefers playing with his friends rather than accompanying Jake in their mini library. He thinks that reading books is not as exciting as playing with his friends. Jake always wins an argument with Jay. Whenever they're fighting over a toy or clothes, Jake always wins. But with these remarks, Jake is not as quite as good as Jay in decision making. Jake is also not as understanding as Jay. Jake always gets what he wants because Jay lets him have it for he's the younger one. Jay isn't as lively as Jake, but he has many more friends than Jake. These two brothers differ in many ways. However, their parents love them equally because for them, Jay is as talented as Jake, and Jake is as gifted as Jay. Okay, so now that I've read it, I want you to read it again silently. So I will give you 2 minutes so that you can also have the time to list the adjectives that you can see, okay? Um, okay, your 2 minutes starts now. Okay, time is up. Have you listed down the adjectives that you saw in the text while reading?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Very good. Now let me ask you, what are the adjectives used in the text? Give one each. Let's have Alkin first.
Um, Ma'am, intelligent.
Okay, intelligent. Who was described as intelligent in the text?
It's Jake po.
Very good. Thank you, Alkin. What about you, Crystal?
Loud Paul.
Okay, loud. Who was described as loud, Crystal?
Mom is J.
J. Okay, correct. It's J. Thank you, Crystal. I know you have listed more than 5 adjectives, right? But I want you to focus with these adjectives. Okay, on the screen, we have intelligent, bright, good, understanding, lively, talented, exciting, loud, and gifted. So earlier, you already have intelligent for Jake and loud for Jay. But now I want to ask, how about the word bright? Who was described as bright? Yes, Alkin.
According to my notes po, it's Jake.
Okay, Jake. Let's have red for Jake. Okay. Let's also have intelligent red. Okay. So what about the good one? Yes, Crystal.
Mom, it's J Paul.
Okay, it's J. So let's have blue for J. Okay, next, Alkin for understanding.
For understanding, it is also J po.
Okay, understanding is again for J. How about lively? Who was described as lively? Crystal?
For lovely, it's Jake.
Okay, it was Jake. So next, talented, Alkin.
Both Jay and Jake are talented po.
Okay, Jay and Jake were both described as talented. Thank you. Let's use green for the adjectives that describe both of them. So next, exciting. Crystal?
Mom, it's J.
Okay, exciting is for Jay. Actually, exciting did not describe Jay physically, but exciting was used to describe how Jay wants to play more with his friends than reading books with Jake because it was more exciting. Next, loud. Oh, we already have loud earlier. So, who was described as loud? Alkin.
It's Jay po.
Okay, it was Jay. Lastly, gifted. Crystal.
Yes, Mom. J and Jake. Both.
Okay, very good. They were both described as gifted. Thank you, Alkin and Crystal, for answering. Now I have here a table. So this table embodies the adjectives that we had earlier. So it's already organized. Here we have in the first column the adjectives used in describing Jake. And on the second column, we have the adjectives that describes Jay. Now, on Jake's column, the first word is the adjective intelligent, saying Jake is intelligent. Now, the question is Jay is as intelligent as Jake? Wait, let me change the presentation first. Okay, can you see clearly the presentation?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Mom.
Okay, again, let me ask you again, is Jay is as intelligent as Jake? Alkin?
Since Jake is the only intelligent, Jay is not as intelligent as Jake.
Jay is not as intelligent Jake. Okay, thank you. So what about the second column? Second row. Is Jake is as talented as Jay? Crystal.
Yes, Mom. Um, J is as talented as Jake.
Okay, so you said that Jake is as talented as Jay. So according to the text, Jake and Jay are both talented. What about this one? Understanding. Is Jake is as understanding as Jay? Alkin?
For understanding, um, Jake is not as understanding as Jay.
According to the text, Jake is not as understanding as J. Okay, probably because J is the oldest, no? Next, lively. Is J is as lively as Jake, according to the text? Yes, Miss Crystal.
Ma'am, Jay is not as lively as Jake.
Is not as lively as Jake. Okay, thank you. What about the next one? Loud. Is Jake is as loud as Jay? Alkin?
Jay shouts. Jay shouts as loud as he can.
Okay, so it was said on the text that whenever Jay see Jake laughing with his parents, Jay throws tantrums and he shouts, right? He shouts as loud as he can. Am I right?
Yes, ma'am.
As he can. Okay. Oh, what about here? So good. Jay is Jake is as good as Jay? Yes, Miss Crystal.
Uh, Jake is not as good as Jay in decision making.
Jay and decision making. Okay. Not said that Jake is not as good as Jay. So in this particular section lang naman, that Jake is not as good as Jay in decision making. So what about the word gifted? The adjective gifted. Is Jay is as gifted as Jake? Yes, Alkin?
Yes, ma'am. Jake is as gifted as Jay.
As gifted as Jake. According to the text, they are both gifted. What about the adjective bright? Is Jay is as bright as Jake? Yes, Miss Crystal?
Jay is not as bright as Jake.
Is not as bright as Jake. Okay, thank you. What about the word exciting? Is Jake is as exciting as Jay?
I have a different answer po.
Okay,
Um,
okay.
Reading is not as exciting as playing with his friends po.
Reading is not as exciting as playing with his friends. Okay, very good, Alkin. So in the text, it is not particularly saying that Jay is as exciting as Jake. It was said that Jay is more excited in playing with his friends than reading with Jake. So thank you, Alkin, for that answer. So now it's complete. Let me again stop the presentation. Okay, can you now see the table?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now that the table is complete, um, okay, what can you notice with the sentences that you created earlier, answering my questions about Jay and Jake? Yes, Crystal.
Mom, we compared Jake and Jay Paul, so we did some comparing Paul.
Very good. Thank you, Crystal. Now, what do you think is the construction that we use to compare them? Alkin?
Based on my observation po, we used the word as before and after the adjective given.
Okay, very good. We use as before and after an adjective given. So that's why our lesson for today is about as comparison. So it is said that comparisons using as constructions can be used to discuss degrees of similarity and differences. And earlier on the table, we discussed the differences and similarities between Jake and Jay by the use of as construction in terms of similarities. Uh, Jay and Jake were both described as talented and gifted, right? And on the other hand, differences between them were indicated by the use of what? Yes, Alkin.
By the use of the word not po.
Very good. We have the word word not. And the use of this word is that it makes the sentence negative. So in the sentence, Jay is not as intelligent as Jake. And the use of not makes them different in terms of intelligence. And usually, when not is used in the sentence becomes negative, the comparison is probably discussing the differences between the subjects. Now let's proceed to this set of sentences. Okay. Okay, we now have here four different sentences. The deal here is that I want to know if you can still remember the exact sentence used in the text. So which of these sentences is the sentence used in the text? Is it the red one, the orange one, the green one, or the blue one? What do you think, Crystal?
Ma'am, I think the orange one, Paul. Jake is not quite so good as Jay in decision making.
Is it the orange one? So let us see. The sentence that was used in the text is the first one. So Jake is not quite as good as Jay in decision making. So it is on the third paragraph of the text. And now I want to ask you, what is the use of the word quite here? Yes, Alkin?
Um, Ma'am, I think the sentence is more clear now that it has quite in the sentence po compared to the other sentences.
Very good. Thank you, Alkin. The use of the word quite here is that it added more detail in the sentence. It could be Jake is not as good as Jay in decision making, but putting the word quite here added emphasis on the differences between Jay and Jake. So class, this word and this comparison is called a modifier. So it is said that modifiers can be added to as comparisons to make them more detailed or to add emphasis. So there are still some modifiers like just, almost, something like that. And yeah, earlier we had quite as a modifier. And in this sentence, like what I've said earlier, it became more detailed because of the modifier quite. And it emphasizes differences between Jay and Jake. So do you still follow, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for responding. With what we have so far, there are 2 points that I want you to remember. So these are the as construction is a comparison, as comparison, which is a comparison that discusses degree of similarities and differences. And as comparisons with modifiers makes the sentence more detailed and it adds more emphasis. So now that we had these points already, let's have an activity. So it is entitled My Friend and I. So all you need to do is to make something like this. Okay, first, you need to introduce yourself and the name of your friend, describing yourself as well as your friend. Then create a comparison between the two of you. It can discuss your differences or similarities as long as you are using the as construction. You can also add modifiers if you want. So for example, I am Jasha. I am tall. I have a friend named Jenica. She is a good singer. Jenica is not as tall as me. However, I'm not quite as good as Jenica in terms of singing. So, do you understand, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes po.
Okay, so I will give you 2 minutes to do this and I will let you present it after, okay?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
can you can start now. Okay, time is up. Are you ready, class? Let us
Yes,
first
ma'am.
have Crystal. Are you ready, Crystal?
Yes, po, ma'am. I'm ready.
Okay, you can start now.
Okay. Um, I'm Crystal. I'm pretty. I have a friend named Jasmine. She's cute. Jasmine is just as pretty as me, and I am almost as cute as Jasmine.
Excellent. Now, let's have Alkin. Thank you, Miss Crystal.
Yes, ma'am. I am Alquin. I am smart. Wow. I have a friend named Samantha. She is a good dancer. So Samantha is not as smart as me. However, I am not as good as Samantha in terms of dancing.
Okay, thank you, Alkin. Very good. I can see that you've learned for today's lesson. And thank you for listening and participating. You both did a great job. This ends our discussion, and let me end this meeting again with my favorite quote to remember: always start your day with hope. Goodbye, and thank you, class.
Goodbye, ma'am. Thank you
Goodbye,
po.
ma'am. Thank you
Okay,
for
goodbye. Thank you.